So how many of you here have heard the term brush with the law? Now how many of you have had a brush with the law? Or know someone who has? To have a brush with the law usually is an indication that you've had some police interaction of some sort. Not something we go around bragging about. Let me give you an example sentence. This was not the first time that Charles had a brush with the law. Sorry, Charlie. So in this term, we're using this as a noun, as a brush, as a thing we've had. My brush with the law that I'd like to describe to you is a double entendre of the expression. Now, double entendre is a figure of speech in which a spoken phrase can be understood in either of two ways. The first, more familiar, as in the example sentence, not the first time he had a brush with the law. My brush with the law is more of a verb, where we are creating, we are painting with the law. So in the first meaning, more straightforward, more obvious, the second meaning is often used as in the form of a pun or as irony. Like I said, that's how we're using it in our title of the program. So, even though we are working alongside with people who have had actual nouns brush with the law, as in inmates, this is my daughter painting at the jail. She would come with me and paint the murals with us. So even though we are using the form of a pun or as irony, the title is meant for positive enlightenment and not the negative connotation of the term. So how this program came about, where it came from two completely separate places. Number one, in 2010, I graduated from PAPA, Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts, where I received my Master's of Fine Arts degree. I actually received my Bachelor's of Fine Arts from this fine institution you're visiting here today, Arcadia University. But throughout all of my arts education, we were taught how to draw and how to paint and put things in correct perspective. But more importantly, we were encouraged to take our thoughts and our ideas and build upon them thoroughly and effectively. So soon after I graduated from PAPA, I placed an ad on Craigslist, offering my artistic services for hire. So within a week, I received an email from the Director of Recreational Services at the University of Pennsylvania, asking if I would like to put together an art group there. And I thought, yeah, sure, it's the University of Penn. And it sounds like a cool thing. It was the Penn Center for Rehabilitation. So we put together a once-a-week class there, and I worked with the patients they cared for who were disabled veterans, stroke victims, elderly patients who were suffering from dementia, and it was a great success. We had a good time, and you could see in their smiles, and they would get so excited to show their family or friends and caretakers what they were able to produce with their own hands and minds. Now, number two of how this program came about is from a much more personal story in my life. And it was about the same time that Penn had started. We had started that class there. So my son, who was then about 17 years of age, had picked up a habit, which turned into a full-blown drug addiction to heroin. And it started with painkillers, opiates, eventually led to heroin. Now, heroin can only lead to two places: 6 feet underground or behind bars. Thankfully, and every day I'm grateful, it has been the latter for us. Now, ending up in jail is not something I ever thought. I, first of all, never thought I would ever go to a jail or know anyone in jail, let alone my own child. But here we were. facing this. And he was a great kid. He was a kid who excelled in school. He played basketball. He was a jokester for his family and friends, and especially his sister. He loved his sister, and she likewise for him. So, nevertheless, here we were in the county jail, looking at each other. He was horrified too. You're not allowed to hug or hold hands. So I asked him how he was spending his time, hoping that he was using it constructively and for a future outcome that was better than when he first got there. And he said there were no rehabilitative programs within the jail. At least at county level, there is none. So this is when I started thinking about the group at Penn and how maybe I could bring it to this jail. Could just try. So after many hours of research, long hours of research, and weaving my way through the process of figuring out how to get it into that jail, and with the help of a very special social worker who's here today, it came into fruition, and we were able to start this program. Hence, Brush with the Law was now a program. So, they allowed me to start with the females. And we did a lot of no-pressure art exercises. This is one example. This is called, we did the name embellishment project, where they were asked to describe themselves to someone they had never met before, only using their name. They were able to share their emotions and their trial and errors that have gone on in their lives non-verbally, and they felt safe in this class. We also studied philosophy. Philosophers like Plato, Aristotle, the allegory of the cave, and then we would also go over Greek mythology stories. And this is a response to the story Narcissus and Echo, which is a great story. If you've never read it, you should try. The Greek mythology stories were important because they help you understand and identify personal qualities and traits within ourselves. So then we also started doing some murals in the program, in the confines of the prison itself. And then eventually the men's group was added on. Now this was our first mural. And we all collaborated together on what we were going to do. And we kept coming back to the Ring Around the Rosie song. We all fall down. So don't look down on someone unless you are helping them up. We all fall down. It was great. There was one girl in this class who didn't. She was a really tough girl, and she didn't participate much in the class until we started doing this mural. And I started noticing her concentrating on painting one figure in particular. This boy. And I didn't ask her why. I just wanted her to continue focusing and doing what she was doing. She finally came to me, pulled me aside and said, "Can you make sure you finish this boy just right for me? I'm going to be discharged before it's going to be finished. And I need to make sure he's going to be just right." And I said, "Of course I would. But why is he so important to you?" And her answer was that this was her son, and that was the only way she could spend time with him. So, I started getting a lot of requests from the inmates who were being discharged, asking how they could participate in this program on the outside. That they wanted to show the good they have to offer when they re-enter their communities, but also have a place where they felt unified and accepted and not disconnected from society. So, Brush with the Law turns out that we were giving voices to these socially marginalized people who usually are never heard from or understood. And I learned that the arts, this class was not just about art. The arts were just a conduit to the social aspects that brought us all together and helped us learn how to communicate. Even if there were disagreements, we were able to gather together and work through them. So Brush with the Law is now evolved. We do city beautification projects, and we do exhibition opportunities for these people. And we also do artist-led groups throughout the suburbs of Philadelphia. It also has now become a federally recognized 501c3 organization that has this beautiful board of directors who help me and lead us in the right direction. This was our first beautification project, and this is one of the girls who actually was inside of the prison with me. And we did this for the Norristown Police Department. And it was kind of weird just to watch a bunch of people making a mural together in the police station where they arrested those people who were coming to paint. And they all got along. Nobody, I think even that cop was trying to pick up one of the girls. He didn't know. Okay. So that's fine. He's a great guy. So that was one of our first. So it turns out that we don't only do these projects to bring about beautification to spaces that are habitually graffitied or blighted in any way. The intent is more to bring about a change in thought from society, who, like me, at one time thought nothing good could come from such people who have had a brush with the law. It's a pretty great gift when your child leads you to discover the purpose of your life, no matter how heartbreaking the road to it may be. Thank you.